Whoa, 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 whoa. Bass is busting right here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yep, there is some. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Some bass busting right here. Let's try to catch. Try to catch one bass here. I've never caught one of these fish that are just busting like this. Never. See, busting, busting. I'm casting, getting nothing. Fish. Oh, that's not a bass though. It's not what was busting here. Still gonna drop spot lock though. Looks like an amazing spot. Look, 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 look. I wanna drop talon here, throw carp rods and catfish rods and fish here all day. Look how beautiful this spot is. Look how beautiful this spot is. What is this? It's not a bass. If it's a bass, it's a baby bass. Oh, yeah. Let me show you what this is. Let me show you. Come with me. Let me show you. Come. Let me first give you a quick bumperoo. Man, this fish is not even 9 inches. I can tell you that it's 9 and you're gonna believe it. But it's not. Look at this. Amazing bluegill. Not even 9 inches. How is that possible? So tall. Look at this. Look. Right here. There is bass all around me. I need to pull the kayak out. No, I never. Look. What the? There is a big. Look. There's a big bass right here. I'm throwing a dingle. Tiny dingle when he's chasing. Even if I catch a bass, my drag needs to be really loose. Because this fish is absolutely going to rip. These hunters are focused on fish. They're looking for fish. He might bite a kayak, but not a dingle. Screw that. Let's get back to just fishing the point. Fish. Man, this could be a bass, but I hope it's not. Could be a bass, but I hope it's not. It's what we're fishing with today. The anniversary, 20-year anniversary of Preso rods. What is this? It's the same tank. Well, a little bit smaller, to be fair. Let's be fair. Well, if we're going to be fair, it's actually much smaller. Now let's put him back. I don't know where to put this float rod. It keeps grabbing. Yeah. There is fish here. I'm seeing bass deep. Not the one that is busting here, but they're coming from the point. There's another one. This might be a bass. This might be a bass. Might not be. These male bluegill, come bedding time, are absolute pit bulls. They are absolute pit bulls, I'm telling you. Well, look at this. My goodness. Even this one Look at this bluegill. It's not gonna be 9 inches. Look at this bluegill, folks. This is not gonna be 9 inches. It's huge, but it's not gonna be 9. God bless. I thought I had a bass. The way he ripped line in the first seconds. Zzz. It was too much for a bluegill. Yep, I see the bass right on the drop off. We're gonna catch one bass here. I'm not gonna catch the ones that is busting on the bank, but we will catch one on the drop off over there. My goodness, I love this Presso anniversary rod, folks. Let me tell you a few words about why I love this rod, because I still get questions about it and I never reviewed it because I don't want to tease people, because it's a limited edition and it got sold immediately and they're not gonna make any more of this limited edition. But because so many people asked about it, they kind of cheated. They said, okay, the limited edition is done, but we're gonna do Italian special, which is kind of the same rod with some small differences. Amazing bluegill again. It's not gonna be 9 inches, but instead of the copper accents they put cork. I think here they have thread instead of this, but it's the same rod, the same blank, the same guides, the same handle, a couple of small differences. I love this accent here, by the way. I love cork too, but on this rod cork doesn't belong in my opinion. But anyway, versions of this rod are still available. They're available, if nothing else, as used. So let's catch a few more fish with this rod and tell you why for me it's worth $650. And if you have another one exactly like my model, I will pay you $650. If it's even used but in perfect condition, I want one more. But I don't want the Italian special, which fishes exactly the same, but aesthetically is not as perfect to me. Man, this bass is absolutely insane around me. I do have a rod with a Kitek. I didn't even put it here, but it's in the rod holder. The only reason, folks, this rod for me is worth the $650 is how amazing the blank is for casting and for fighting the fish. For casting and fighting the fish. And you have to understand this and the specifics, because if you don't understand the properties of such a rod, you might be disappointed. This is not a sharp tip rod. If I get here the cheaper Presso Air AGS, not the anniversary, the $300 rod here has a sharper tip than the $650 rod, because the tip here is thinner. That tip is very thick. It's the thickest tip that I have. It's 1.3 millimeter thick. It's thick and heavier and stiffer. And when you load it, it bends absolutely parabolic. I mean, this one bends kind of parabolic too, but the blanks are actually not the same too. The carbon threads is organized a different way. Man, let me cast while I'm talking. This bass is driving me nuts. The carbon is wrapped a different way, and as a result, this rod, well, look how thin it is all the way down here. So it has a very thick tip and very thin butt. And this is a recipe for what? This is a recipe for parabolic bend curve. What's another name for parabolic bend curve? Another technical name for parabolic bend curve is slow action. Slow action has nothing to do with recovery. The action in United States describes the bend curve. It's inappropriate, but that's what they use it for. They should be separated. Recovery and taper should be separate attributes of the rod. So the taper of the rod or the bend curve is parabolic. The recovery, which is usually fast on all high-end rods, fast and extra fast, and even on the $300 rod, it's very fast recovery. But the recovery on this rod is not fast. It's like medium fast, maybe even medium. It's just not a sharp tip, and after the cast, there is another half a wobble there. It's not a sharp tip rod. So you have to know this. Some people hate this. The moment they grab the rod and they shake it and it wobbles a little bit, get this noodle out of here. So you can spend easily $650 on a rod and hate it. This is why I'm trying to give you objective property description, and then I give you my personal, preferences too. I love the rod, but you have to know the objective properties. The recovery is slow. It wobbles a little bit. The tip is not sharp. It's not the best twitching rod at all, but look how it bends with a small bluegill. It bends down here. And the first time ever I caught a fish with this bluegill, I remember my reaction. I was like, what's going on? What happened here? What happened? I was looking at, I felt something different, something moving all the way. Oh, come on, this is a micro barb, the smallest bluegill, still a big chunk. I felt something moving here in my hand. I think the blank is bending inside the handle. And you feel so lively. You feel action when you're fighting the fish. It's bending inside your freaking hand. Usually in all rods, the bending stops over here. And the last 1-2 feet is backbone, so you have a solid handle here. On this rod, it is so thin and so bendy. Look at this. The blank bends inside my hand. And because of this, when you fight fish with this rod, there is a unique feel. It feels so lively and bendy. To me, that's incredible. But if you have followed my channel for a while, you know that for me, landing fish is maybe not even half of the joy of fishing. I never keep, not never, I keep a few fish a year. Maybe I keep 20 fish for the whole year. Most of them will be crappie. Some will be catfish, some white bass. I haven't kept bluegill in a long time, but I enjoy this background. I enjoy the colors matching. I mean, only this rod belongs, only this line belongs on this rod, if you ask me. These things give me satisfaction. Everybody says, is the performance better? What is performance? How many fish you put? This performance, I'm starting to hate the word performance. What is performance? How many fish you put in the boat? Is this, or how do you measure performance? Recovery is kind of performance. Performance, schmerformance. Performance is, I love performance if it comes with all the other stuff, with the beautiful colors and the joy of fighting the fish. If it's just performance, one of these prototype rods, but it's uncomfortable and ugly, you can keep your performance. I don't care about only performance. Another tank, absolute tank. Feels so steady, but it will be small. So back to the rod. If you want to talk about performance, this rod is not impressive on any performance spec. It's heavy. That rod is 42 grams. This one is like I forgot, was it 56 or maybe even 60? The weight for such an expensive rod is absolutely not impressive. This is not a light rod. So then what's left? So the tip is not sharp. It wobbles a little bit. The weight is absolutely not impressive. You can get a St. Croix Legend Elite Penfish. It will have the same weight as this rod. So why give $650? There is no obvious reason to pay $650 for this rod unless you already have a bunch of performance rods and you fish for pleasure and you enjoy aesthetics. You enjoy fighting the fish. They're right on the edge, right on the edge. They can go deep or they can come shallow, bust, and come back deep. Amazing feel. Yeah, this is why I paid $650. It's beautiful and it's so nice to look. Look at all of my videos. There's not a big bluegill here. Well, depends on where you live, I guess. If you live in Illinois or Iowa, no, even in Illinois, this is not a big bluegill, and it still bent this rod like insane. Can we pull it out? Yeah, without the hook keeper. Look at this. Look, one loose coil. Note to self: make extra long cast to get rid of the loose coil. The cloud of shadow. Was that a better cast? I think that's a better cast. Okay, let's see if we can eke something out of here. Something tapped it. There's one of them. Now we need to catch one black bass out of this point. There is some nice bluegill here, but the first bluegill was the biggest, by the way, and that's many times has been my experience. It's another nice bluegill, but not a tank. This is the perfect application for this rod. A little bit deeper, possible bass, because this is the other thing is this is not a super ultralight rod. It's an ultralight power rod, not a super ultralight like the Eradicator. Eradicator is a more finesse rod. By the way, I can say the same thing in general about the Eradicator. The performance, if you want to talk about quote-unquote performance of the Eradicator, is not that impressive. It's not that light. The recovery is not that fast. It wobbles a little bit. It is much more sensitive than this rod though. This rod, among the other things, because of this heavy tip of the rod and the big guides and heavy tip is not a recipe for sensitivity. Yeah, another attribute I didn't mention. The sensitivity of this rod is good, but not impressive. If somebody tells you, oh, you whiff and you feel it, that's not true. It's not more sensitive than the $300 Presso Air AGS or the Eradicator. The Eradicator for sure, with those micro guides, is more sensitive than this rod. And most prototype rods are more sensitive than this rod. The new major craft that I bought is more sensitive than this rod. So sensitivity too. So you see how if I give you the objective properties, they are not impressive at all, and how if you are just blindly buying, like, oh, iFish likes it, I want it, it must be incredible performance. If iFish likes it, performance must be amazing. You can very easily spend $650 and you can still be disappointed. You can be like, oh man, it's not that sensitive. You know, on the cast it wobbles. When I twitch the trout magnet, it shakes a little bit. Then what the hell did I pay $650 for? Just to take a nice picture? By the way, isn't it worth the $650 just taking a picture like this and saying this is mine? Just to have this on the wall of my office. But I think this rod is a good example of why you need to understand the physical properties of rods and what each property does and what properties the rod should have to feel the way you want it to feel. Again, if you come from bass fishing, and I have so many bass anglers subscribers, shout out to all of my tolerant bass angler subscribers who, even though sometimes I take jabs at bass anglers, they are some of my best customers, and I've never seen a comment attacking me from a bass angler for some of my jabs. Relatively tolerant, I have to say, I have to give it to them. But if you're a bass angler and you're used to sharp, stiff bass rods dragging a jig on the bottom, you know the kind of feel a rod for dragging a jig on the bottom, and then you grab this, I mean, it wobbles, man. It wobbles. Why do I pay $650? There is no justification for paying so much money for this rod if you don't assign a special value to fighting the fish and enjoying the fight of the fish. This last sentence, just replay the last 1 minute of this video. This is the only justification for spending so much money on this rod. Got you. Ooh. It really bends inside the handle, folks. It might be too much bending for some people too. Even the bending that I enjoy might be too much for some. This is a nicer bluegill. Amazing bend curve on this rod, folks. I don't know. Maybe people have never, look at this bijik now. Maybe people have never, I don't know, experienced such bending. Maybe if you experience it, even if you are used to sharp, stiff, rigid rods, you are still gonna enjoy it. You just never tried something like this. Oh, I removed it. Oh, this bass is absolutely ridiculous today. It's absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. I was hoping for one tank, folks. I was hoping for one tank, but they're getting smaller instead of bigger. So I'm gonna end the video here because I don't want to wait and try to squeeze every last fish of the point. There are so many spots to check on this lake. I don't want to spend another 30 minutes trying to eke the last 2 or 3 bluegill out of this point here. But we caught plenty of fish for one video anyway. Thank you guys for watching this video to the end. I hope it was useful. I didn't do this video to tease people with some exotic rod. I want people to understand that it is important to understand the physical properties of the rod, because otherwise it's very easy to spend a ton of money and end up not even liking the rod. Forget about liking it enough to think that it's worth the money. But you can spend $650 on a rod and at the end not even like it. Oh, I cannot give you the final screenshot with these coils here. Let's make one cast just to get the coils out of the spool. But this is the final shot of the video, folks. Thank you one more time for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye, folks.